basically Percy Jackson is better because it wasn't written by J.K. Rowling. Greetings and salutations. Hi. I have an unpopular opinion, and that is that the Percy Jackson series is superior to Harry Potter. Justifying this is a joke, this is satire, obviously. Whatever you think is better is personal preference. Also, it doesn't matter. You can love both things. I fucking do. I grew up on Harry Potter. It was like the first fandom I ever joined. I literally grew up on the books. They were one of the first series I ever read that wasn't like really children's novel-y. Here's a few reasons why Percy Jackson is the superior series. Okay, right off the bat, I'm gonna call out what the fuck J.K. Rowling has been doing on Twitter recently with her whole claiming representation where it wasn't actually their thing. What J.K. Rowling did was she wrote a book of series in the 90s that were about a bunch of straight white kids. And if she just said that, that'd be okay. But no, she has to go and claim that fucking Dumbledore was gay, even though we all kind of know that she didn't have that in mind when she was writing the novels. Or that Nagini was a person of colour, or, you know, saying she always pictured Hermione as a person of colour, even though she literally wrote in the books that Hermione was white. Just saying, Percy Jackson books actually have representation within them. In the first series is like the whitest and straightest series because that was kind of Rick getting himself popular before he made everything gay and he made everyone a fucking person of colour. Even in the first series, you have characters like Charles Beckendorf, who was a huge hero, being a person of colour though. There was still a lot of the supporting characters still were. You just had the main three be white, straight people. We all know Percy and Annabeth aren't straight, but like that's a whole other thing for a whole other time. And then you move into Heroes of Olympus, where you have Piper be a Native American, you have Frank be Chinese Canadian, I believe. It's been so long since I've read Heroes of Olympus. Leo is Latino. You have Hazel being an African American. You have, like, literally there are only, out of the 7 characters, 3 of them are white. You also have in Heroes of Olympus, you have the storyline about Nico being gay come into play. And that's harrowing and is beautiful, and I know Rick Riordan at the time, because I remember when Has Hades got published, got a lot of shit for it, but he still did it. He didn't take it back. He was very like, he's gay, sorry, but he's gay, which I love. And then you have Rick's first spin-off series in his first other series in the Riordanverse, the Kane Chronicles, which features a male African-American protagonist. That's slowly, you know, getting some more representation. And then you go to fucking like Magnus Chase, where the main character is pansexual and his love interest is gender fluid, and you know, you've like the main character what used to be a homeless kid, and you've got a lot of people of color in there too. You have a Muslim character, you have a deaf character, even going on into Trials of Apollo, like Apollo is bisexual canonically, and you see a lot more of Will and Nico, and that being completely normalized. There's a lesbian couple in the Trials of Apollo series too, who used to be hunters. It's great. There's so much real representation in his books, and it's not even just people of color and people who don't fit gender binaries, or you know, people who aren't straight. You have representation for people with, you know, you had the first series, people with ADHD and dyslexia, they have that representation. I personally, when I was a kid reading these books, I felt really out of place in my home, and I used to really want to run away from home. And so having Annabeth be someone who did that, and who was a protagonist who felt really unsafe in her home without her family being physically abusive, she was just so unhappy there and was in such a bad situation for herself that she felt the need to run away. And having that be represented was a huge thing for me as a kid. Like, you have little bits of representation in every single character, not even just with the main things that we kind of think of when we think of representation. And J.K. Rowling can't relate. So I spoke about the spin-offs and that a little bit, but my second point is the Percy Jackson series actually had good spin-offs. The Magnus Chase and Gods of Asgard series, the Heroes of Olympus series, the Kane Chronicles, the Trials of Apollo series, they're all fucking great. They're so good. And Harry Potter has the Fantastic Beasts movie and the Cursed Child. The first Fantastic Beasts movie was okay. I'm specifically talking about Fantastic Beasts' Crimes of Grindelwald and the Cursed Child. This is debatable, I guess, but I would definitely say that the Percy Jackson series, like the first one especially, is easier to read when you're young. Harry Potter uses a lot more mature language than Percy Jackson does. The first series of Percy Jackson is it's like the easiest read. Like when I reread the books now, I usually read them in a day or two, and you can just keep going because it's fun, it's lighthearted. You deal with really, really intense themes, but he always writes about them in a really fun way, and in using language devices that are really, really easy and interesting for kids to read, and can, like, keep them engaged and keep their attention. They don't get that confused reading them. Also, it's just cool that, you know, the Percy Jackson series is educational for kids when it comes to, like, mythologies and stuff. This is completely biased, but I think Percy is just a more fun protagonist than Harry too. Harry is a bit, like, he has some sass and he's kind of funny and, like, you know, he, you know, rebels against authority as all protagonists do. But, like, Percy's Percy. He's just kind of more fun to be around. Like, I'd rather be friends with him. Also, he's just kind of a nicer dude. Harry's my baby, but Percy's a nicer guy. On that tangent, the Percy Jackson Olympians series and all the spin-offs are funnier than Harry Potter. Harry Potter has a few moments, but it tends to kind of be quite intense for a long time, whereas Percy Jackson has those moments, but there's a lot of levity, and it's just so funny. Like, even as Percy was, like, going into the fucking river Styx, that it just is like, he fucking just fell and hit his face. It takes you out of how serious what's happening is for a bit, which is nice. Doesn't always. You can look at, like, you know, the fucking end of Mark of Athena. They're not making a joke of that, but they don't have every moment in Tartarus be awful in House of Hades, which I appreciate. They have some moments of levity, of some moments of them just bantering like teenagers or being dumb teenagers, and I really appreciate that. Here's the thing. Percy Jackson is as successful as it is. It's one of the most, like, popular children's series ever. It's up there with Harry Potter. You know, we had The Lightning Thief get an illustrated, not, like, version last year, like, following in the sets of Harry Potter, but it's had this success without really having had movie adaptations. And, like, okay, so, like, the movies were made, but here's the thing, the movies didn't do well, neither of them did well in the box office, and, like, we all ignore them. We literally, like, the fan base pretends they don't exist to other people. Like, no, the general public weren't watching these movies and then getting into the books. We were all already here, or we came in through the books themselves. None of us, none of the fandom really came from the movie. We don't acknowledge the movies. No one acknowledges the movies. No one fucking saw the movies. If you mention the fact that Percy Jackson has movies to random people, they probably won't even fucking know what you're talking about, or they definitely wouldn't have seen them. Whereas Harry Potter is one of the biggest film franchises ever, which is obviously brilliant and what Harry Potter deserves, and I'm glad that that drew a lot of people to the books and continues to, you know, draw younger generations in. But Percy Jackson has had the success that it's had without really having had movies. It does currently have the musical, which I fucking love, and if you are in America and it hasn't gone through your city yet, please go see the Lightning Thief musical. If it has gone through your city, or if you don't live in America, please stream the Lightning Thief musical on Spotify. Guys, we actually have a good adaptation. Appreciate it, please. Speaking of musicals, they both have bomb-ass musical adaptations, a Harry Potter musical and the Lightning Thief musical, and I suggest that you all stan both of them. There are 3 musicals in the Harry Potter musical universe, and they're all wonderful and brilliant, and they're all on YouTube. Go watch them. And Lightning Thief cast recording is on Spotify and Apple Music, so go stream it, please. That's all I really have to say. None of these were coherent. I just wanted to fucking make a YouTube video, and I wanted to talk about this because, like, no one I know can actually join in on the debate, I guess, because I'm really interested to what people prefer, because generally people prefer what they read first, but I read Harry Potter first, and I fully, like, Percy Jackson's the thing that kind of has my heart. Although Harry Potter was my whole childhood up until the age of 11 when I read Percy Jackson. So talk to me in the comments about which you prefer and why. Please remember that this is a joke. I'm not actually saying there's anything wrong with Harry Potter. I fucking love Harry Potter. Debate with me. I love friendly debates. But, like, don't scream at me. Don't get angry. Just be a civil person. This is all fun and games. Don't take it seriously. Thank you. I love you very much. Goodbye. Mwah.